over 1 million COVID vaccinations in 24 hours in India, but fresh rise in India's cases as daily cases cross 17,000. After raids on celebrities and firms, Income Tax Department sources claim evidence of huge suppression of income. BJP's Central Election Committee meets on poll candidates. Meanwhile, TMC rebel and now BJP member Suvendu Adhikari says he wants to contest against Mamata Banerjee in Nandigram. Union ministers flip-flop over Metro Man E. Sridharan as BJP chief ministerial candidate for Kerala. First, Minister Muralidharan says that Sridharan is the CM candidate, then clarifies, saying that the party hasn't taken a final decision. EPFO retains 8.5% interest rate for 2020-21 on Provident Fund deposits. Decision taken at the Central Board of Trustees meeting. Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. India has administered a record number of COVID vaccines on Thursday. Till 7 p.m, the government data says that there have been over 1 million vaccinations in a day. So daily vaccinations crossing the 1 million milestone for the first time. More than 1.77 crore COVID vaccine doses have been administered so far. But now there is a worry as COVID cases have surged in India. In fact, the daily cases crossed the 17,000 mark on Thursday. The last high was on the 29th of January. 18,885 cases were recorded. That was 33 days ago. Now, 86% of the new cases have been reported in 6 states. Maharashtra there at the top, Kerala, followed by Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and finally Gujarat. Now, in fact, trends revealed in the 7-day moving average of COVID cases show that the steepest rise is of about 65%, and that is in the state of Punjab.
Over 1.1 million of India's general population vaccinated in the first 3 days as India's vaccination graph continues to improve. The rise is evident on the ground, especially in private hospitals which are seeing long queues all day and where daily shots have gone up from 150 a day to about 600 each in prominent hospitals like Apollo and Max.
They are coming in large numbers every day. We are trying our level best to make the whole process very smooth for them. Though there are little hiccups in the beginning, that was expected, but now things have become much smooth as compared to day one. Now we have given 2,000 shots from day one till now.
The rush in private hospitals has now compelled many, like 65-year-old Indira Agarwal, a retired teacher, and her husband, 65-year-old Pradeep, a retired banker, to go to a government hospital.
मैक्स वगैरह में एक्चुअली बहुत भीड़ थी। फिनिक्स आर ब्लॉक में ही है हमारे घर के पास, लेकिन उधर भी बहुत ज़्यादा रश था। लोग कह रहे थे जैसे मैक्स में आज रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाओ, कर रहे हैं वो लोग भी रजिस्ट्रेशन, लेकिन नेक्स्ट डे फिर सुबह जाओ तो नंबर आ जाता है, अदरवाइज यू हैव टू वेट फॉर आवर्स। सो हमने कहा ठीक है, लेकिन यहाँ हम आए, हमने कहा एक बार देख लेते हैं, तो यहाँ हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा।
कोविशील्ड वैक्सीन लगा रही हूँ सर मैं आपको। Several public figures were also seen getting vaccinated today. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Himachal Chief Minister Jairam Thakur, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi Anil Baijal and the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha.
किसी तरह की कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई। आप लोग देख रहे हैं आपके सामने हम सब लोग बिल्कुल स्वस्थ हैं। तो मैं सभी से अपील करना चाहता हूं कि ये बड़ी अच्छी बात है कि अब कोरोना से छुटकारा देने के लिए हमारे पास वैक्सीन उपलब्ध है। सब लोग आगे आके वैक्सीन लगवाएं जो लोग एलिजिबल हैं।
पिछले 2-3 दिन से काफ़ी सारे लोग हमारे यहाँ लोकनायक में आ रहे हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने लगवाया है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने हमारे यहाँ पे वैक्सीन लगवाया है। तो निश्चित रूप से लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अब वैक्सीन सेंटर पे आ रहे हैं वैक्सीन लगाने के लिए।
इंडिया प्लान्स टू वैक्सीनेट नियरली 30 crore people by July 2021. And the positive start of the vaccination drive is a good sign that India might succeed in turning that goal into reality as the days progress and the vaccination pace picks up further. In New Delhi with camera person Sushil Rathi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Meanwhile, inside India's vaccination centres, there's excitement, some bit of trepidation and elation. What is the process? What actually happens inside a vaccination centre right from the start to the finish? Here's the report.
Siddharth Chaudhary, a resident of Delhi's Ashok Vihar, registering on the government's CoWIN portal on behalf of his parents for the COVID vaccine. Siddharth's parents, Satish and Madhu Chaudhary, both senior citizens with comorbidities, finally ready to take the COVID vaccine shot.
I was happy, I was thrilled, and I really wanted to come to the center for the vaccination.
We are being vaccinated today, and we got ourselves registered online, and then we have come here.
On the 23rd of February, the government had announced COVID vaccination will be made available for those over 60 and those over 45 with comorbidities from the 1st of March. Life hasn't been easy for the elderly, staying indoors for a whole year.
It was tough at times. You are not out, you were not coming out of the house. But as the situation was going on, so we passed our time in looking TV, cooking sessions, and having a chat with children, with relatives, with friends. That was the only source, and this was how we passed the time.
Otherwise also helping people, listening them, their difficulty. Really they have given up like this. As we heard the death of people, so it was so horrible. No one could see their face also. It was really tough. Aadhaar card we have shown them, both of us, and finally we are in the queue. No problem. Whatever the formality they have said, we have fulfilled it. We are on the track and we are thrilled to get ourselves vaccinated.
They have to watch for the signs and symptoms for the fever या body pain. अगर कुछ हो तो normal tablet ले सकते fever के लिए, नहीं तो हम advise करेंगे कि hospital में आसपास में clinic में दिखा सकते हैं.
I'm happy. I'm thankful to all the staff, to the doctors, to you also, and I'm happy. I'll be waiting for half an hour, taking Dolo medicine.
Okay. We will be spending our life yearly. Hope it will go smoothly.
And well, it was also time for that selfie.
Very much difficult for my parents, not for my parents, also for me also, because घर पे ही रहते थे. तो अब वैक्सीन भी लगी है तो इट्स गुड, ठीक है, सभी लगवाइए. मैं तो यही कहूँगा सबको वैक्सीन के लिए. हाँ, ये प्रॉब्लम्स तो बहुत ज़्यादा आई थी, वो सभी के लिए आई थी, हमारे लिए भी आई थी. तो अब वैक्सीन लग गई है तो वी आर वेरी मच हैप्पी नाउ.
The Chaudharys can now live a more relaxed life after a difficult year that 2020 was, especially for the elderly. At vaccination centres, there is an increasing number of senior citizens and those with comorbidities working in and registering themselves online to get that shot of vaccine against COVID-19. So far, over 1 million senior citizens have already taken the COVID vaccine. After almost 1 year of staying indoors and preventing themselves, they finally see light through this shot of hope. With camera person Manoj Thakur in Delhi, Shanakshi Chakrabarti for NDTV.
The other big story, Income Tax Department sources have said that irregularities worth crores of rupees have been found in ongoing raids on filmmaker Anurag Kashyap, actor Taapsee Pannu and others. The IT department has countered the allegations of a crackdown on some of the biggest critics in Bollywood of Prime Minister Modi's administration. Purva Chitnis has more.
IT department came out with details of what they searched yesterday. As far as the IT department is concerned, well, they came out with the details that yesterday about 28 locations were raided and searched, and not just in Mumbai or Pune, but it was also in Delhi and Hyderabad. And what they have found out so far is that in fact these search operations were carried out at two leading production houses, then at Anurag Kashyap and Taapsee Pannu's house and residence, and also talent management agencies. And what they have found out so far is that there is a 300 crore amount, which is there is a discrepancy about 300 crore, and also what they also found out is that about 350 crore of share transactions were undervalued, and there is manipulation in that. And this is as far as the production house is concerned. And as far as the leading actress is concerned, what the IT department is saying is that they have recovered receipts of up to 5 crore from the leading actress, and they have also during the search put 7 bank lockers under restraint. And what the IT department is also saying that the searches are still going on. So as far as the other side is concerned, no response has come in from either from Taapsee Pannu's side or Anurag Kashyap's side, or even the production houses or the talent management agencies have not reacted so far on this. This is just the IT department saying and telling us what exactly they have found out yesterday, and they are saying that today also the searches were there and the search will still continue. This is what the IT department is saying, but again everyone is asking the question whether is it because these people are outspoken and are critical of the government? Is it because of that the IT's raids and the searches happen at their premises, at their locations and of how offices and residents? That is something that everyone is asking, because we also know that Anurag Kashyap and Taapsee Pannu, who were not in Mumbai but shooting somewhere in Pune, they were also questioned yesterday by the IT department, and the IT department has come out with those details which they are saying that the search will still continue to go on. In Mumbai, with camera person Praveen Ji Rohit, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
All right, now let's shift focus to the forthcoming state elections. The BJP Central Election Committee met on Thursday under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Modi to discuss candidates for the first couple of phases of the Bengal elections and also for the Assam polls. Meanwhile, Trinamool Congress rebel and now BJP leader Suvendu Adhikari wants to contest against Mamata Banerjee from Nandigram. Dilip Ghosh and Mukul Roy are unlikely to contest, but party bosses will take a final decision. The committee will meet again on Friday to discuss candidates for Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Kerala. Meanwhile, Trinamool Congress also held a meeting to discuss party's position in Kolkata and the other seats. There was ward-by-ward analysis of the assembly constituencies in Kolkata. All Trinamool Kolkata functionaries have been given a CD to highlight the Trinamool Congress's performance. Meanwhile, now Shiv Sena has called Mamata Banerjee the real tigress of Bengal, and even the NCP may support her and not the Congress-left alliance in Bengal. Saurabh Gupta reports.
A state election with national ramifications. While more opposition parties are joining Mamata Banerjee, saying she's the only one who can take on the BJP in Bengal, the left and the Congress are staying away. The Shiv Sena says she is a real Bengal tigress.
हमारा ये भूमिका है कि हमारी जितनी भी ताकत है वहाँ वो हम ममता दीदी के साथ खड़ी करेंगे। ममता दीदी को हमने हमेशा कहा है वो पश्चिम बंगाल की टाइग्रेस है।
Do you know that symbol of the Shiv Sena is a tiger? Now the tigers of Maharashtra feel that Mamata Banerjee is the tigress of Bengal. We welcome such a realization and such an announcement by Shiv Sena.
The Sena has opted out of the elections in Bengal. They say money, muscle power and the media are being used against Didi. According to sources, even the NCP is unhappy with the Congress and left's decision to ally with Abbas Siddiqui, a cleric who started a political party just ahead of elections. But the Congress is unfazed.
हम वेस्ट बंगाल में अच्छी पोजीशन में हैं, हम लेफ्ट के साथ मिलकर अलायंस है हमारी। हम सिर्फ बीजेपी की विभाजनकारी नीति के ही खिलाफ नहीं, ममता बनर्जी के कुशासन के खिलाफ भी हैं जो उन्होंने पिछले 10 साल में किया।
Meanwhile, Mamata Banerjee is hitting the ground running, transitioning from Didi to Bengal's daughter. She will hold 2 only women Padyatras on the 7th and the 8th to protest against rising fuel prices. The one on the 7th will be pitted against the Prime Minister's big rally in Kolkata. Mamata Banerjee files a nomination for the Nandigram seat on the 11th of March. This is the very seat from where her former trusted aide and current BJP leader Shubhendu Adhikari was MLA before resigning. As Mamata aims for a hat-trick, several other opposition parties like the Shiv Sena are saying she is the only one capable of taking on the BJP in West Bengal. In Kolkata with camera person GD Shankar, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
To Kerala now, where hours after tweeting that E. Sridharan, India's Metro Man, would be the BJP's chief ministerial candidate for the next month's assembly election, Union Minister V. Muralidharan issued a clarification saying that the party has not yet taken a final decision. Now, earlier in the day, Mr. Muralidharan had tweeted this, that the Kerala BJP will fight Kerala polls with E. Sridharan ji as its chief ministerial candidate. Listen in to what he said earlier and then his clarification.
Will Metro Man Kerala CM candidate?
Party has announced it. The party has announced that E. Sridharan will be the chief minister candidate. While I was on way to a meeting, some journalists asked me, what I wanted to tell was that I have heard through newspaper reports, media reports, that party has announced. Afterwards, I cross-checked with the party president, who said that he has not made any such announcement. He was only referring to some issues in Kerala where he mentioned that people would like to see a person like E. Sridharan as the chief minister. So it should not be considered as an announcement of Mr. E. Sridharan as the chief minister candidate. So I would like to clarify that part.
India's Metro Man, 88-year-old E. Sridharan on his last assignment. This by the ruling left government in Kerala, reconstruction of a flyover that first began under the previous Congress-led government and had to be brought down by the left front for technical lapses. Reconstructed under 5 months with E. Sridharan as technical advisor.
Metro Man, Keralathinte Mukhyamantri സ്ഥാനാർത്ഥിയാണ്. അത് വിജയിക്കാതെ പോയതാണെന്നാണ്. ഏതായാലും ആ പാലാരിവട്ടം പാലം ഇടിഞ്ഞ് താഴെ വീണു. അത് നമ്മുടെ വികസനത്തിന്റെ മാതൃകയാണ്. കേരളത്തിലെ LDFന്റെയും UDFന്റെയും വികസന മാതൃകയാണ് പൊളിഞ്ഞു വീണ പാലാരിവട്ടം പാലം.
This just weeks before he contests the state assembly elections for the first time.
I will not be working like a normal politician. I will be still working like a technocrat.
However, politically, his views have run into some controversy as well, with his statements to NDTV in this interview last month.
Even by Hindus, state governments have actually passed laws against what they call love jihad, which, I mean, in many ways hasn't been proved at all. So would you support these policies? Do you believe that there is love jihad?
Love jihad, yes. I see what is happening in Kerala, how Hindus are being tricked in the marriage and how they suffer this. Not only Hindus, Muslim, the Christian girls are being tricked in the marriage. Now that sort of thing certainly we will oppose.
BJP hoping that with a popular face like E. Sridharan's, they may be able to increase their mass base in Kerala among voters. However, its vote share, which was around 6% in 2011, more than doubled when it came to 2016 assembly elections. But the ruling left as well as the opposition in Kerala Congress-led front, both downplaying the move.
He could have joined any political party, but not a party whose political program is fostering communal divide and making political capital out of communalism.
With camera person SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
Welcome back. Ousted former AIADMK chief VK Sasikala's sudden announcement that she will step aside from politics and public life seems to be advantage AIADMK and a setback to her nephew TTV Dinakaran. But what led to this decision, and can Dinakaran still upset the electoral dynamics? Sam Daniel finds out.
Outside the residence of Sasikala, only a small crowd of loyalists gather, asking their Chinnamma to reconsider her sudden decision to exit politics. Sasikala's abrupt move, she said in her letter, was meant to ensure the vote doesn't get split between the AIADMK and her nephew Dinakaran. After her ouster in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, which the DMK swept, Sasikala's nephew TTV Dinakaran's AMMK secured around 8% votes, largely from the AIADMK. Her exit, Sasikala hopes, would prevent vote split in the upcoming elections, besides ensuring her from future criticism that she helped the DMK capture power. If the AIADMK loses, the party may also look up to her to lead yet again. However, Dinakaran says his party would contest polls which could defeat Sasikala's game plan. Some say Sasikala bowed under pressure from the BJP. She still has income tax and enforcement directorate cases pending. Her properties and those she co-owns with late Jayalalitha are yet to be confiscated as directed by the court. But the BJP denies this.
But some our political opponents, they dreamt divided AIADMK, it will help to they come to power. But now Sasikala, what she has took a decision that will fulfill our dreams.
The DMK-led opposition says it's unperturbed.
Nothing fundamentally has changed from 2019 to 2021. We are facing the same issues, which still more bigger. We are facing the same opponents. So why would the results alone be different? And that is why we are not perturbed.
There is still speculation that Sasikala may not have called it quits. She may re-enter, perhaps after elections. Call it Sasikala's personal decision or under pressure, all eyes will be on TTV Dinakaran's move, whether he will soon become an ally of the AIADMK, which resists him so far. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
All right, to Jammu and Kashmir now, where it was back to school for students of classes 9 to 12. Now, after the school shut down post Article 370 abrogation, then due to the pandemic and then slow internet hampering online classes, students can finally focus on education now. Nazir Masoodi reports. Schools in Kashmir have been shut longer than those in other parts of the country. First, due to security reasons after the abrogation of Article 370, then the COVID pandemic. A lot has changed since then, says Class 9 student Syed Anayat, who had last seen his classmates in July 2019.
You just see the change in their heights as well. Their heights have grown. To come together, to hug each other, we just say hi.
For now, classes 9 to 12 are coming in. From next week, it will be classes 6th to 8th. There is no decision on primary schools yet.
लगभग 2 साल हो गए, हम 2 साल के बाद आए यहाँ स्कूल, तो इसलिए तो अब हो गया है। अब कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए था, जैसे कोविड के आप स्कूल्स खुल के आप ये बोल रहे थे ये वापस बंद हो जाएंगे, हम नहीं आशा करते कि अब ये बंद ना हो।
Restrictions on internet in Kashmir has hit online education as well. Teacher Shaista Reshi launched a YouTube channel to teach kids during the pandemic, but not many could benefit due to slow internet speed.
Online classes were okay. You were having so many questions, but the signal problem is there, network issues are there. But this face-to-face is something else. And we are feeling so happy that we are back in the school.
After a long winter of disruptions, school kids in Kashmir are looking forward to focusing on education again. With Nazir Masoodi in Srinagar, Rohit Wellington for NDTV. Well, that's it on this bulletin. From the entire team, thanks for watching. Goodbye.